I mean, I assume you're confident that part is really going to come on with little strength and another year of experience. But do you think the patience level has to be there?
You know, I think if you look at it intelligently, you know, you can never really look at what a guy does offensively in high school. You can to a certain extent. You know, he's scoring baskets against guys last year in high school who were 6'1". Now he was an effective scorer in the AAU circuit where he's one of these guys that are 6'7" to 6'11". But nobody's scouting you. So now there's better athletes, bigger athletes, and the sophistication of the scouting at this level is second only to the NBA. So he's got to now figure out, okay, what are teams doing to me, and how can I be an effective member of this team on the offensive end of the floor, even without scoring. Obviously, that's with his passing. That's with his screening. And I think what you'll find is that he can become the kind of, and he's been much better, by the way, passing and screening. He's going to get more slip opportunities. He's going to get more opportunities where he gets the ball with an angle to the rim to score, as opposed to having to score over somebody. He's had a hard time scoring over people at this level. He didn't have a problem scoring over people last year. All right, well, now he's got it. Now he's got to work on that. His release point. How do you get an angle? And how do you get easy buckets, offensive rebound putbacks, in transition, things that help him settle down. But the thing that you've noticed about him is he does not back down. He's not soft. He just keeps coming. He keeps battling. He keeps believing in himself. And that's, I think the thing that's been impressive to me.
Yeah, his numbers actually compare pretty favorably to freshman centers at Iowa. Do you think expectations, not yours, but outside, were fair for him coming into this year?
Well, he was a top 30 player. I mean, I think people look at that and immediately figure that he's going to be getting us more baskets. But I mean, that was never really who he was. He was a guy that could move his feet. He was a guy that was going to be physical and tough, and he was going to be able to rebound, outlet the ball, and run and play in the transition game and move his feet on ball screens defensively and affect the game that way. He could pass, he could put on the deck a little bit. I mean, he's got a pretty complete skill set that way. And I think once he comes to grips with all of that and doesn't put incredible pressure on himself to have to be a scorer, then I think what you're going to see is a guy that really is effective. If you think about it, when he's on the floor, he's been effective. He really has been. And his minutes have been limited by his foul trouble. Now that's going to come with experience.
Mike Gasell rolled his ankle, as I recall, or did something to his ankle early in the second half. Did that affect the way you played, do you think, at all, and how is his health going into Wednesday?
It's bothered him a little bit. We'll see how he does today. That's always going to impact. An injury that takes place during a game, you never really know. Sometimes you can play through it, and it doesn't really hurt you until after the game. It seemed to affect him a little bit to me. It seemed just getting him a little bit sideways.
When you look back at all these close losses, has there been any, maybe one thing that's been consistently missing from those games, or has it just been, sometimes something's working and other times it's not, and it's something else?
We've tried pretty much everything. We've tried, different players. We've gone inside. We've run clear-outs. We've run motion. We've run sets. The thing about our team is we've got different players on given days that play better than on other days. So sometimes we got a different lineup on the floor at the end of the game than the game before. Usually it's the same 3 or 4 guys that are in there. But for us, it's obviously going to be Marvel and White in particular. But the other guys, I'd say probably Mike Gasell would be, in that group. But the rest of the guys, it's been different. It's been Eric May, it's been Woody, it's been Nelson, Clemens. There's so many different combinations we've used. It's been Gabe Olashany in a number of situations. Certainly the last time we played Purdue, he was on the floor late. So, that is going to take a little bit of time to figure out and so forth. But when it comes down to it, we're getting good shot opportunities by good players, and I have confidence that particular with Dev, I mean, he had just made 2 really tough shots when we were struggling. So we go to him again, and he charges. You know, it's unfortunate, but we wouldn't have been in that situation if he had made those 2 big shots prior to that. So you tend to, you know, well Dev let us down. No, he didn't. The only reason we're in that position is because of him. He didn't come through on that particular possession. And he has, and I go back to the Purdue game the last time, the 2 drives he made were terrific plays. The ball didn't go in. Normally it does for him. So, you know, I don't panic and I don't start trying to come up with some dramatic new offense that's miraculously going to solve what we're doing. I put the ball in the hands of my best players. We set them up the best we can and make sure we get a shot. The only time that we didn't was the 1 turnover he had in the Minnesota game. Other than that, we've gotten shots. And even then, we had the lead. It was unfortunate we didn't get another shot to get a chance to look for, but we've gotten good shots. And you know, you go back and you say, whoa, look at the shot that Aaron White made on Saturday. What a big-time shot that was. They go up 3. They have all of them at him. He just ties the game, raises up and drills it. So we've got guys that are playing with a great deal of courage. You know, it's just unfortunate that we're not able to eke out a couple closer victories, but we've also won some close games.
Fran, you've in 10 of your 14 Big Ten games have been decided by single digits. That shows the competitiveness of your team and the league itself. But in the last 2 minutes of the games, the shooting percentages for the other team are better than yours, the free throw line and from the floor. Do you see any kind of common factor? Is it a breakdown? Is it a personnel grouping, or is it just shots not falling?
No, I mean, the free throw shooting, you know, is unfortunate. I mean, we've got good free throw shooters out there. I mean, our free throw shooting numbers are good. We've got the right guy shooting the ball. I think if you had the wrong guy, you know, if you had a really bad free throw shooter that you're going to and he gets fouled and misses a free throw, then you question it. But we got the right guy shooting the ball late. Anything there.
Seems like with Adam,